Okay, so first things first, guys. How are you?
We're good.
Good, thank you.
Just waking up.
Yeah, late morning for you?
Well, not so much, but you know, I think I woke up at 11. It's pretty decent on a festival run.
Okay. Is it tougher than the normal tours to get the energy going each day for festivals?
It's a little harder because it's just more of a sort of assault on all your senses, you know. Like you can't get away from the noise,
Right.
and there's so much going on, and it's you know, like portable toilets and like not very good showers, that
Sure.
sort of thing. So it's a bit more of an assault on your senses, and you get a bit more exhausted.
It's like
But-
camping for a whole bunch of people that don't know how to camp, or
It's a lot of fun, though, you know. Like yesterday, for instance, we played at Pukkelpop, and there was just pretty much all our friends that we haven't seen for the last year were playing. So
It was
we kind
great.
of like, you know, that which is exhausting as well. We just end up drinking until like 2 in the morning.
But in that sense, these tours, and like you say, you meet a lot of people you play music with and peers. So is it inspiring doing these festivals?
it can be. I mean, a good festival with a good lineup is always inspiring. It's really exciting. It's so much fun to not know what to see. You know,
Yeah.
it's great.
And
And
this
for
is like-
people that tour all the time, you don't really get to go to shows very often, except for your own. So it is really exciting.
You're talking about 3 of the kind of most reputable festivals, you know, in the world, like Pukkelpop and Lowlands and Frequency. It's like everyone looks forward to doing those. The lineups are fantastic, and you know, I find these pretty inspiring, actually.
What is one act you saw recently that you were impressed by?
One act we saw.
The Antwoord were,
were great.
I mean, they're always amazing. Just the kind of chaos, that sort of chaotic energy, and just.
Total madness. It's
And
fucking
it really
awesome.
is just 2 people bouncing around with their thoughts kind of, you know, emblazoned on the screen and on their costumes. You know?
In a similar sense, then, is your approach when you play these gigs, is it different than the normal gigs?
Well, we don't have an approach,
Okay.
which is an odd thing to say, but we don't really. We don't have an approach. I think you come to a point where you've been kind of doing it enough that you just know immediately how to adapt to a different setting, whether it's, you know, you're playing to a festival crowd in the daytime, or whether you're doing a headline show, and you kind of get to know the audiences who's kind of come to check you out and who's come as a sort of solid fan base, and we just kind of psychic with it now a little bit, aren't we?
Well, before we talk about Ash and Ice, I'd like to go into something different quickly, which is visual art. And Alison, you are an artist, and because the previous album was in 2011, is it important for you as a band to have this time off to work on other projects and get other creative outputs?
I think we kind of do it all at the same time. You know, it's sort of all always happening at the same time. And it's especially fun to be on tour because there's so much inspiration coming in and you're in so many different places and meeting so many different people. That's always the best time to paint or take photos, you know, and do all that stuff. Or at least you're collecting all this information in your head and your heart. So when you're home and there's not all that chaos, you can then paint about it or write about it or, you know, write a song about it or something. So
Particularly with photography, it's not like you think like, oh, I can't wait to get off the road and go back home to my
take a
room
photo
and
of my
take some
bedroom.
pictures. You know, it's like it's out here all the time.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about photography, and is that you don't really, it doesn't take up any time. It's like a 125th of a second, and it's just done, and then you go home and I get everything processed and developed, and it's like, wow, I've got a book here, you know. It's like without even thinking about it.
Does it influence the music that you make, the visual art?
Yeah, I'm not sure how, but
I don't know, I'm sure it's all part of the same thing.
Right.
For us it is. We've always done creative things on the road. We've always kept notebooks. And we look back at like our very first tour, we filmed everything, we photographed everything, we wrote about everything. There's just like endless collages of stuff, and that's just how we are. So for some reason it's all kind of, it dictates each other, you know, it's all part of the same thing.
Is there one thing that you remember from that collage, from that first tour? Something that kind of...
Oh no, they're just books and books
Okay.
and books. I mean, I haven't looked at them in a while, although I'm about to because I know where they are in the house and we've been going through things.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking about that. We've got this huge crate like this size in our front room in our place in London, and it's just become sort of part of the furniture now. This huge crate, and it's full of thousands and thousands of Polaroids.
Okay.
And I was just kind of thinking, oh my God, what are we going to do? It's not actually a crate.
We're gonna make books and
It's
do shows. That's what we're
thousands
gonna
of
do.
Polaroids.
Yeah.
And we have to sort of move them somewhere or do something with them, you know.
We will.
The one thing about your music, to me at least, it has this very visual aspect to it. So does it have that for you as well? Because
Yeah.
it's used in a lot of TV.
To me, it does. I feel like it's really visual because that's the way I think. So I think it's impossible to avoid that. When I write songs to me are really visual.
Okay.
And if other people see that, that's great. You know, I feel that.
So in that sense, do you have certain images attached to songs? If you take, for instance, Doing It to Death, do you have a clear visual image of that song?
Nothing that's not always changing. You know, when I was listening to that song before that we did that video, I had all sorts of like images in my head, and one of them was that, like a cemetery in LA, full of bright colors and stuff. And it's cool that we ended up getting to do that because that's what I was seeing. Not for any reason that needs to make sense, but it just kind of, the thought crossed my mind, you know. But songs say different things to me on different days. It's nothing's really in stone. You know?
So your mood is also very important.
I would say so. Well, your mood just dictates how you receive things, doesn't it? So if you're in a great mood, you might think, that roller coaster looks beautiful. If you're in a bad mood, you're like, that was the ugliest thing I've ever seen. You know, you don't know.
Sure.
But then
It looks beautiful to me. I really want to go on it.
It also dictates your mood. Like,
The roller coaster?
yeah, you know, 'cause it kind of the look of something can change the way you feel.
Look at those guys, little kicking feet.
I know. Would you do that?
Yes,
There's a
I would do
roller
it.
coaster over
100%.
there, and when we keep looking over that, it's because
I'll take a shot of it.
a
in a minute.
near-death experience.
Oh yes,
going
I would
on.
do it. I've done that one before, the one with your feet dangling down.
Yeah, I just think it's an embarrassing way to die.
I'm not gonna die.
But so when, for instance, this process for Ash and I starts, where do you start? Do you start with those images, those kind of visceral things, or is it very...
I do. I start with going through books of photographs, and sometimes, you know, we have all these like literally hundreds and thousands of photo booth shots that we've done, pictures in photo booths, and laying all those out. I really like it because you kind of, you look at them and you don't see yourself in them. It looks like pictures of someone else, you know. And it just, I think, for me, that sort of seeing images of us, like detached from reality, kind of helps me when I sort of get an image of our band and think about it. And then, I do. I kind of look through drawings and pictures and photographs, and then start making beats.
Okay. And for you especially, Jamie, because I believe in 2013 you had an accident and you hurt you injured your hand.
Yeah, I can't use. I got like 5% movement in it. You can do that.
Okay. But, because and then obviously you had to kind of change the way you play guitar.
Yeah.
So what's that? How did that process go? After like you say, you have these
Kind of quite slowly. I started learning to play songs of ours that we had in our set already. Like No Wow was the first one I tried to play because I don't use too many fingers in that one.
Right.
So I started to learn to play like No Wow to see if I was still a guitar player. So I didn't want to waste time learning if it couldn't be done.
Right.
And I could play it. And then we played it in public and no one noticed, apart from the fact I had a huge bandage on my middle finger.
Right.
And then I learned 4 other songs of ours and we played those.
Okay.
It was a lot of pain, but we played them and no one noticed. So then I just started to learn other songs and work out how to play chords, different chords without this finger, and nobody even noticed. I didn't have a finger anymore, and that was the thing that kind of inspired me to learn more.
Yeah, because did it change if it now that the album has been released and obviously you finished it a while ago? Do you notice now things that you did differently that you wouldn't have done that way on previous?
Oh yeah,
records?
definitely. I mean, something like Doing It to Death, the guitar riff in that, which is one of my favourite things I've written. Mm-hmm. I've never written that if I'd have had all my fingers, because I had to play individual notes. You know, if I'd probably been relying on something more angular and more of a chord. I play a lot more individual notes now, which is kind of, I think it has more clarity, maybe.
And Alison, for you, when you heard that he injured his finger, what went through your mind?
I mean, a lot of things, but mostly I was just listening to Jamie talking about it when he was describing it. It was really disgusting. I almost drove my car off the road. You know, it sucked to see him in lots of pain, you know, and it was a long process, but it was not a process that we didn't feel we would come out the other side of. We were really positive that it was going to be okay. It was just like, you just, when something like that happens, you have to just be like, all right, it's going to take this amount of time. You have to do everything properly, you have to get all the operations, you just have to go through it. You can't speed it up, you know? And so we were just incredibly hopeful the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of more, The Kills is not about a guitarist and a singer. It's about us too, you know, not the instruments we play. And we were excited about anything that is going to change the direction of our band or do anything, you know. It's like, I don't know, just don't seem to be negative about it. In fact, when we thought that I might not play guitar again, it was almost inspiring thinking about what The Kills could be without a guitar player, you know, like as a sort of, I would be hitting pads and doing something or other, but, you know, kind of that's exciting to us, where that could go.